1580.
If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my first things every day, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Let's go. Happy Thursday. This is how we do things around here on a Thursday. Hour 1, we look local, what's happening on the left coast. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive on a hot topic or a person of interest. We're mostly on point. I'll be talking our topic today. We're going to be looking at Black history and whether it's even possible to erase it, particularly through some of our legendary and important historical episodes, I guess you could call it. The Pullman Porters Union, the influence of Black unions on our prosperity today and our way forward. Looking at all of that with Laura Ball of our Author Study Club. And we'll also be hearing from Martin Ludlow, who's the founder of the LA Jazz Festival. Got some music stuff to unpack and some opportunities somewhere along the line. Somewhere today we're going to be giving away tickets. Not right now, but it's going to happen. So you're going to want to keep it locked to that big Mother's Day concert with Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, and Stephanie Mills. So we got things going on today. Things going on. Right now it's me, you, Miles, and the microphone, telephone, or whatever you got going on at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. And speaking of Mother's Day, don't forget, I will be at the Michelle and Barack Obama Sports Complex all day Saturday for a Mother's Day Eve celebration. It's a free concert, and you can go simply by going to Eventbrite, picking up tickets. Leela James, Rasan Patterson, 1500 or nothing, and DJ D Nice among the lineup. That's going to be fun. Wear your dancing shoes, I would say, for that. Bring mom. You don't have to be a mom, though. All are welcome. So we did it, Miles. At least we did it. We went and saw Sinners yesterday, right?
You seen it?
Yes. Wow.
Man,
It was whew.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for anything to live up to the level of hype that movie is getting, but to me, it surpassed it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. First of all, the way it was shot,
Yeah.
the depth of like the layers of shooting on it, especially like that balcony scene. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's really, he kind of showed out with the filmmaking. And as a result, the beauty of how it looks,
Yeah.
right? And it's so, for me, refreshing to see Black people portrayed and our culture portrayed that beautifully,
Yeah.
filmically, right? You don't see it every day. And when you do see it, it's usually about our trauma, our suffering. You know, okay, you're going to look beautiful while we whip you and chain you. No, it's not that at all. It's just beautiful visually.
Yeah, no, it was the details of it. You're saying the beauty of it that way, the beauty of it sonically, how real the atmosphere sounded, the trains passing by, the you know, I mean, there were times like you can feel yourself kind of being tense as they're having like tense moments, like the little details of sound design they used on that. That's art right there.
Yeah, it's art. And that, you know, it's funny you would say that, Miles, because that was my reaction. The first thing that overwhelmed me with emotion about the movie is that it's a reminder to us in dark times. It is always Black genius. It is always Black arts. It is always our innovation and our vision that gets us through. I mean, not just gets us through. We come through the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death, and we come out up a level.
Yeah, it's very. I had the same feeling I had the day after I saw the Kendrick performance, Super Bowl. Like it was like that type of artistry for me as an artist. I like that. That was it.
Yeah, I think it was. So we were talking about like the technical artistry. Clearly, Ryan Coogler nerded out on that movie, and I've heard him talking about it, you know, in interviews, his aspect ratios and this and that. But the thing about it is you don't have to even understand that because you can see it and feel it on the screen.
Yeah, and then to go back into the car and have to drive home, it looked different. So yeah, that was it.
Oh, you were really immersed. You were immersed in the time period.
Yeah.
There's so many things, and it's funny because it, you know, Delroy Lindo said that my dad's book, Blues People, was given to him by Ryan Coogler to help him prepare. But to me, it reminded me, my dad we would see a movie, like any movie, like say a James Bond movie or something like that. And he would break down all of the socio-political meanings, analyze the script in terms of what it was saying to us as Black people, as a society. What was it lifting up? What was it breaking down? And that you look at that script and the way they produced it, the messages, the politics of it are so powerful, and that's also multi-layered.
Yeah, and for it to be a timepiece,
right?
To relate in such a way where we at now with a timepiece,
At a
you know what I
period
mean?
piece, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Good storytelling. Good narrative on
Michael
it.
B. Jordan showed out too. I mean, really, I've seen him, and I always like him in movies. But for me, this allowed him to show his chops as an actor because he has the two different characters that he's playing. You know, he's playing both of them, and he brings two very distinct characters.
Yeah, the whole time too. The whole time. So yeah, that was good. Especially that I was cracking up at that last scene.
Yeah. No spoilers, right? But
no spoilers. That's a great way of show some Black excellence to just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
ironically.
I'm expecting the Oscars and stuff to ignore his performance because the movie is so commercially successful. They probably don't want to pat it on the back, but he should be recognized for that performance. Actually, there was a number of really strong performances.
Yeah, no, really. I understand now why the soundtrack is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
That was some good music.
And that's the thing too. Like blues has never. It's been popular. It's always been popular in this country where it's popular, but it's never really been in the pop culture so much, other than when white people do it, when they co-opt it, when they vampire it. But I feel like this movie is reintroducing blues to a generation of people that may not have been checking for it.
Yeah, and it did a good storyline from both perspectives, I think, on what blues meant to the world, to the country specifically. Yeah, that was some soul food right there. That was a Thanksgiving plate of a movie.
For sure, for sure. If you got thoughts on that or whatever is on your mind, you can call. I got a lot more to say about it. We got to talk about this. We got to unpack it. The imagery, and that's why I want to see it again. I want to go back and see it on the big, like IMAX size, if I can still find it, because I know that new Marvel movie's bumping it out of those big screens. But I'm gonna find it because I want to see it. I mean, just a scene where they're dancing with the ancestors.
Yeah.
That I want to see in a huge screen and just see all the detail that I missed. Because clearly it was very well researched. The ability to make something an action movie with fighting and blood and vampires, and it's a horror movie, it's all the way in that genre, and still have this Black history and culture so richly interwoven is mind-blowing, to be honest with you.
You know, specifically, Dominique, you'll understand it too. That driving scene when they're driving through the field, and I forgot his name, but he was the blues singer, and he was telling the stories. You know what I mean? And passing through the little towns, like after going to Africa this past year and driving from Kenya to, passing through Naruk and the little side towns.
Right, going to from Kenya to Tanzania. Yeah.
It was Connect for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. Which I was looking at the film also through the global eyes, right? Because it's going to Africa, it's going to Europe, and I feel like Coogler and Michael B. and all of the cast and the costume design and everything, I think it will reflect a little bit for people that don't understand Black American culture and our struggle, not in a way that's preachy or depressing, but the joy, the beauty, the way that we make a way out of no way. I mean, the way that we walk through all of this and still maintained our spirit. I think he shows that so well that I was hopeful about how that would land for Europe, for Africa, for Latin America, which has, been subjected to decades of horrible Hollywood images about Black people.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good representation of us for the next decade, really.
Yeah, which seems super important when they're actually literally erasing our history out of the Black History Museum in Washington as we speak. It's a reminder why you can't. Because there's always going to be some rapper, some filmmaker, some playwright, some storyteller, some blues singer that's going to keep telling the story, and it's going to ring true.
Speaking of which, you saw your boy at the end, right?
Yeah.
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 The OG vampire. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 800-920-1580 if you got something to say. No spoilers. Just don't leave. Stay in the theater. Is that a spoiler? That's not a spoiler. That's just advice. Sam from LA, you have the mic. Sam, you there?
Okay. Hey, look, I don't know if you saw yesterday, those officers were acquitted in Memphis, Tennessee of murdering Tyrese Nichols right there on camera and everything. Did you see that yesterday? The story from 2023.
Yeah, I remember it very well. Those were the Black officers that beat that motorist almost beyond. Yeah, I mean, it was just very brutal. And I know that some folks were mad because, when they finally charged some officers, they're Black officers, but they were acquitted. That's
okay.
Typically
but
what I would.
Civil rights violation, I guess, in the summer. But this I understand, Dominique. And it just burnt me up. Last night, they showed his mother crying, saying that they broke his nose, they did this and did that. But last year, either 2023, you played a clip of her saying, I guess an interview she did, I hate that they were Black. What difference do it make? Dead is dead. Black men, Black cowards, that's what they were, killed your son. So why are you mad because they were Black?
Well,
That's why I
I don't. To me,
understand that.
because it hurts more when your own people fall into that. I mean, look, people say that black folks aren't united, and I don't agree with that. Most of the time, we are united. We just don't give ourselves credit for being united because we got so many other problems going on. Most of the time, we are united, but to your point, Sam. The data shows us that black cops kill black people actually at a higher rate than other cops. So maybe they have something to prove. It doesn't mean that as a mother, as a citizen, as a lover of black people and black culture, we can't be more hurt when it's our people that do that to one another. Hold that thought, Sam. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Curran Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman. That's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima
Right now. Sam called in upset about, the acquittal of the officers in the killing of Tyree Nichols. This is a 2023 case where these black cops beat him terribly. And this was the second trial. These were state charges. The federal trial, they were convicted of witness tampering, but they were acquitted of the more serious charges. of violating his civil rights by causing his death. And the federal jurors found him guilty of violating his civil rights by causing bodily injury, but not death. Okay, make it make sense. You were upset because you were referring back to the mom saying it hurt her heart or it upset her that they were black. I get that. Did you want to land on that point, Sam?
Okay, well, yes and okay, yeah. Well, first, I'll never understand it. To me, it's a ridiculous statement. That's your son, dead is dead. And another thing, Dominique, I hate, like, every time when a police gets shot or killed, it's almost like they reading from a script. Now, it may sound a little silly, but I'm dead serious. Oh, he was a good officer. He fed the homeless. He did this. He did that. But they never say this same officer might have stuff in his jacket as long as I am tall. But it's always they want to glorify them in
right.
death or
I
whatever.
mean, there is a playbook. I
that.
feel like there's lawyers that tell them, say you feared for your life, and then we'll paint this officer as charitable and beloved by his community, and we'll smear the victim and say that he was on drugs or he, was some kind of predator or problem. We'll make him seem like the stereotypical black man, and that's even black women, and that's what they do. I feel like it is a playbook. It's probably something that they teach at the academy, or the Shadow Academy, however that goes. Appreciate the call, Sam. Really do. Okay, Sam. Appreciate you. And I would also point out that there were two other officers that were involved in that beating who pleaded guilty. Pleaded guilty in both federal and state. Well, one of them's in both courts, federal and state. But, who knows with this new Trump playbook, it's possible that they could plead guilty. And then what Attorney Kerry Harper was talking about on Monday with the, with the Winco case, where the Trump administration is trying to come back after the officer, the deputy, rejected a plea deal, goes to trial, gets convicted. Now the Trump administration is trying to give them the plea deal post-conviction, which is insanely unheard of. But let's watch the space and see if they try to do that in this case. Nate Holden, who was an iconic Los Angeles politician. He was a state senator, a city council member here in this South LA district, actually, has made his transition at the age of 95. He died yesterday. And it is true, as Supervisor Janice Hahn said, he was a legend in the political world in Los Angeles, in the Senate, in the city council. There are more than one thing named after him, including, of course, the Nate Holden Theater. And he held office for a very, very long time. This is before we had the term limits that we have now. So rest in peace to Nate Holden. He was elected to the Senate in 1974, fought against housing discrimination, and fought for the King holiday, built bridges between Korean American and Black American communities in Los Angeles, was in the city council almost 20 years, something that you could not do today because of the rules, but he was an enduringly popular Los Angeles lawmaker. So rest in peace to Nate Holden. Let's go to JW calling us from LA. Good morning, JW.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. I would just like to comment on Sinners First. In reference to the movie I haven't seen yet, but heard a lot of wonderful things about it. Based on all the information I did hear about it, apparently he was so visionary, where he was able to combine visual and audio and make you feel and be in the moment. And it was like symbolism in terms of being involved, of feeling what the message that he was communicating with music. And
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what people aim to do in all films, right? We want to, in any art, you want to use as many of our senses as we can. In film, it's going to be, audio and the visual. I think he goes deeper here. I hope you'll go see it, JW, because he uses symbolism. Clearly, history is not just something he thought about for 2 seconds. These are deeply researched. You can see it. You can hear it. From in the African American culture, in the African culture, in the bridges between those cultures. I think it's no coincidence that these are the most three-dimensional and non-stereotypical roles for Asian Americans that I've seen in a very long time. Hollywood usually does them quite dirty, and it's interesting how he takes that simple opportunity to remind us of our historical solidarity and how, Asian Americans, Chinese specifically, because these characters are Chinese, were exploited to build the railroads as we were enslaved, and how they were also, although they weren't enslaved, they were also victimized by the Jim Crow system. So it's almost like it's really interesting, especially at this time in history when the film business is so deeply in bed with Chinese, and then you have the dynamic now of Asians becoming the biggest minority in certain urban areas like Los Angeles. And that dynamic is going to shift the politics of this country. So interesting to me that he chooses to, in this subtle way, remind us of our solidarity and our shared roots. And it also is a way, I think, of reminding other so-called BIPOC people that it was Black people who fought and died so you could have rights, so you could be here.
Right, but it also showed, too, the other side as well. When stuff got cracking, you know what I mean? Everybody was ready to throw their hands up and be like, all right, we good on this. So
yeah.
Try not to spoil the movie and the routine for everybody, too, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, not everybody, but yeah, it shows the fighting spirit of certain people through characters that, to me, illustrate more than just a single character, but aspects of our community.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's playing chess, not checkers, for sure, JW, and I think you would really, really like it. And we should go. I mean, the movie's not dropping off because the word of mouth is so good. It's making numbers that Hollywood never makes. If a movie sucks, it's going to nosedive after the first weekend. This one saw almost no change, and then weekend 3 dropped about 25%, but that's still quite unheard of, especially with a big Marvel movie moving in. So go see it while it's still in the theaters. I'm going to go see it again. I am. 800-920-1580. We got news, traffic, and sports, and then more of your phone calls when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Tensions flared outside of a Grand Rapids, Michigan courthouse as protesters clashed during jury deliberations in the trial of ex-officer Christopher Shore, charged with killing a black man, Patrick Luoya.
I think that they are really weighing the options and the facts, and I really, truly hope that they come up with something soon.
The jury is deadlocked, but was told to keep trying. One person was arrested. Jurors are in deliberations today in the Tyree Nichols murder trial. 3 former Memphis officers are charged with beating him to death back in 2023. That was caught on video. None of the former officers testified. And a Lending Tree survey shows 77% of parents say raising kids is more expensive than expected, with nearly half having fewer children due to costs. The average cost to raise a child now is nearly $300,000, up 36% in 2 years. A $5,000 baby bonus is reportedly under consideration. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's a good time to be a New York Knicks fan.
The Knicks pulled off another come-from-behind win at Boston to take a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 Eastern Conference semifinals in the NBA playoffs. A 91-90 victory gives the Knicks a huge advantage over the defending NBA champions. The next two games are in New York. Game 3 is Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. In a text to Shedeur Sanders, future Hall of Fame quarterback Tom Brady told Deion's son to use his fall in the NFL draft as motivation. Brady has become a mentor to Sanders, who fell from a projected first-round pick to the 5th round on day 3. Sanders is one of 5 quarterbacks on the Cleveland Browns roster. The list includes Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson. Brady can speak from experience. He was a 7th-round pick of New England in 2000. Brady won 7 Super Bowls and was a 3-time NFL MVP. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Something I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. It might hurt you. Hope you don't lose your mind. Well, I was just a boy, about 8 years old. You threw me a Bible on that Mississippi road. See, I love you, Papa. You did all you could do. They say the truth hurts, so I lied to you. Yes, I lied to you. I love the blues.
Woo! We're talking sinners right now. Of course, you can bring up whatever you want, but we're talking sinners. And that's from the soundtrack, which is on 3 Billboard charts right now. And I can see why. I was listening to it yesterday after I saw the movie. Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, the little details, the excellence of songwriting, of production, of like, this is authentic Mississippi blues we listening to, yo.
Yeah. And it's charting.
It's fire.
Yeah, okay, so you asked me a question during news, traffic, and sports, and I could ask you, who did you relate to in the movie?
I'd say a lot of probably Sammy the most. At first, I was kind of feeling a little bit maybe a little stacked, because I was comparing like the brothers, and I probably more the hothead You know what I mean? Funny kind of brother compared to what my brother is. But definitely Sammy though. Definitely Sammy. Definitely the the love of the music and letting that be what kind of guides your spirit through the cycle.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Smoke and Stack, Ryan Coogler has said, were based on the Yoruba Ibeji, which are the sacred twins, the concept of twins, and that energy is also mischievous, but also doing just everywhere like messengers. It was very. I found a lot of different things to relate to. Obviously being a black woman with a white mom and a black dad, I was looking at the character. That character, I guess she's probably like Octoroon, yeah. That because it felt like there was some kind of commentary about how the further away we get from our blackness, the trickier things get in some ways. And what role that person has in the black community. That, whether or not they are able to code switch, go back and forth, how much they embrace their blackness, how much their blackness embraces them. That was very interesting. Without giving spoilers. And then I also loved and related to the character, the character of the kind of traditional healer / root woman, whatever. I love the fact that they chose this, beautiful dark-skinned woman that Hollywood, if it wasn't black people, would never have cast in that role. And she was perfect in it. But also the way that the role that our indigenous traditions have in our understanding, in our community, in our healing or not healing. And so that's why I was disappointed to see some folks, some of the, I guess, hardcore Christians looking at this as devilish or promoting something evil. Because, well, first of all, it's a horror movie, right? So there's going to be evil. It's a horror movie. But the evil is not our traditional ways that are passed on from our mamas and grandmamas, not our healing and our old wives' tales. The evil, it's a vampire movie.
Like, even if you wanted to just say, you know what, I'm going to eat at the surface level and just look at it as a vampire movie, that was a good vampire movie.
It was a great vampire
just from that
movie.
perspective.
Yes.
So, or you can take it deeper and get everything and try to, get the full nutrients of it. But
right. But what I'm addressing is this tendency to demonize anything African in our history. It's not anti-Christian. It's not anti-religion. It's not pro-demon. It's pro-cultural. It's pro-ancestral. And I wish that I remember when I first came on the radio many years ago, and I've always given up respect to the ancestors when I crack the mic, and people would tell me I was being devilish or worshiping idols. Honoring and venerating your ancestors, not devilish. Every other community in the world does it. We've had the roots cut from our tree by our enslavement, and now we're afraid of our own power.
Yeah. That's it.
And I just don't think those things have to be at odds. It depends on how you look at it. But I love that, and then you made the point about the portrayal of the indigenous First Nations people in the film.
It just goes to show that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like other people know what's going on too. You know what I'm saying? So even they knew, we got to be in before the sun gets down, though.
Yeah.
This guy's not who you think. I don't want to spoil it all for him, but this guy's not like who you think he is.
Right. But and the thing about it is, by them being in touch with their traditions, they're able to be more clear about what's going on.
Traditions, but also you got to think like they're also people who have been experiencing it as well. They see what's coming before the town saw what's coming.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Miles. Let's go to Willie calling us from Palmdale. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Miles. Good morning, KBLA delegation. Yeah, I guess that's like be careful what you let in your mind.
Yeah.
Be careful what you let in. But anyway, I was calling about. Have you heard of LA Alliance for Human Rights?
I haven't heard of that.
Have you heard of LA Alliance for Human Rights? Have you heard of LA Alliance for Human Rights? Have you heard of LA Alliance for Human Rights? Have you heard of LA Alliance for Human Rights?
There's a lot of those organizations with similar names, so I'm not sure. What's your point? What do you want to talk about?
They sued L.A. County for the homeless.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm familiar. They were on the show, yeah. Mm-hmm. That organization was on the show. It's and to be clear, those folks are. It's really a coalition of business owners in downtown who want to limit homeless people from being out in front of their businesses on the streets. So the name may be slightly misleading.
Yeah, because they still trying to pursue Mayor Karen Bass, pressure her. And then I want to know, could they allocate part of that lawsuit to go to Venice?
No. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but they're not suing Karen Bass and the city for money. They want to be able to restrict the movement. They say that what they want is transparency over where all the money is going, which of course we all want that. But they also want to have some control over whether or not unhoused people can be sleeping around their businesses. And I understand it. Like if you're running a business, you don't want a homeless person sleeping on the doorstep where customers are not going to step over it. But I just don't think that suing the city is the route to go. And then you've got that judge, David O. Carter, who, I get that he's committed to. I'm glad that he's. I'm glad that he's committed to seeing what's going on. But there's an element of it that feels like grandstanding too.
Yeah, I know.
What's your bottom line here? What are you trying to figure out? Why would a lawsuit in downtown be part of Venice? I mean, Venice, has their own crusade going on.
Right. Well, that was it, Dominique. Thank you for taking my phone call.
All right. I'm not really quite sure what you're getting at. Maybe just wanting to raise our awareness. And I'm always appreciative of that. Good on all of it if it leads to better outcomes, more transparency, what's happening with the money, a better management of those nonprofits in the way particularly black people are taken off the street or not taken off the street. I say particularly black people because we've seen that the screening tools have a discriminatory edge apparently because black people are less likely to be placed in housing according to the data. And I know the mayor has been working on that. But there's always, this grandstanding and hidden agendas on really impacting outcomes for the unhoused. And that's what makes it so frustrating. But I do think it's important to note when people say we're not seeing any progress, that is not true because every day more people are falling into houselessness. So that means if we wouldn't have had H and HHH and made this investment in the unhoused, it would be way worse than it is right now. And do we need to do more? Yes. Yes. Do we need to do better? Yes. But to pretend that we haven't done anything is problematic because it plays into the narrative that we should just throw up our hands, stop funding these programs for the unhoused, and be like Lancaster. Advocate passing out free fentanyl and throwing everyone in jail. Jerry from Beverly Hills, you have the mic.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Good morning.
How you feeling today, Jerry?
Oh, about average. I felt. Oh, I have a bad roommate here.
You have a roommate now?
Young.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
I like to let people know, Jerry, because sometimes people tell me they think you're drunk, but Jerry is struggling with a disability, overcoming a disability every time that he calls.
Anyway, many years ago, I had a trespasser in my place, but this trespasser cleaned up my place, left me a few dollars, and with a nasty note, my mother.
You had a trespasser break into your place, clean the house, and leave you some money?
but at a nasty note, it was my mother.
Oh, the trespasser
God bless
was
her.
your mom. Happy
bless
Mother's
her.
Day. What a great story, Jerry. Happy Mother's Day to your mama. Of course, we are always, always, always open for that. Tributes to your mom. You want to say her name?
Hilda.
All right, Jerry. Well, happy Mother's Day to Hilda, and appreciate the call and you showing love to Mama. Jerry called 800-920-1580 to rat out his mom for trespassing in his apartment and cleaning it up. That's a great idea, Jerry's mom. Maybe I should trespass on my child's college apartment and clean it up, leave a mean note and a few bucks. She's gangsta. 800-920-1580 if you want to chime in, or if you have something to say about anything, but in particular, my mind is blown by this movie Sinners. I got home and it started writing. It got me inspired, and I hope that I can stay in that inspired groove. Hope you will too. This is exactly the kind of art we need right now in this moment in history. Miles Lowe, Dominique DiPrima, and you on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. So the very, very, very last scene in the movie. No spoilers, but the very, very last scene in the movie, you talked about who appeared. And y'all gonna have to watch it for that. I'm not gonna say, but I will say that there's a cameo by Buddy Guy.
Yes.
Who is a blues icon.
Yes.
Right? And I love that so much because one of the traditional narratives in the blues is always about whether or not you make a deal with the devil at the crossroads. I mean, that's one of the stories they always tell, right? The legendary guitars, the guys who were willing to make that deal with the devil so they could be great. And that's, when you talk about who I related to, I guess I related to Sammy too, because navigating Hollywood and whatever career that I've been able to have over the decades, I related to that because it's time and time again. It's not just once that you come to the crossroads. You come time and time again. Are you ready now? You want to sign here now? Are you ready to do that thing you didn't want to do last time? Are you desperate enough to do it now? And I related to Sammy in that way too.
I also feel like with Sammy, the people that were thinking of him and protecting him all along. You know what I mean? Like I keep forgetting the other brother's name, but you know what I mean? Like he said, you know, before you get to Sammy, you're gonna have to kill me first. I'll give it away. But you know what I mean? But yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Delroy
Like,
Lindo's character is who you're talking about.
Right, and he was an ancestor to look after Sam. You know what I mean? So just knowing that you're covered for generations, because you're gonna have to tell this story all these years later. You know what I'm saying? Like the role of what the artist has to be, the experience the artist has to go through to get that close to, you know what I mean, to the fire, to tell you about the fire.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It's tough trying to not spoil this for everybody.
Delta Slim.
Delta Slim.
Delroy Lindo's character. Delta. He's great. He's great in the movie too. You know, just playing that. So many great performances actually. Saul Williams as the dad, as the preacher. Yeah. And excellent performances. I think the metaphors are hot and heavy. The whole idea of there's always someone going, well, why can't we all be together? Why can't we, you know, come into the culture? Why can't you know, we all be, and what price do you pay for that integration, assimilation, crossover?
Yeah.
That's a question.
What price do you pay for crossing over?
I mean, it was kind of a rhetorical question, but it was a question I think the movie asks us.
Yeah, it did. And, you know, it also showed what it does to the other side once we integrate, because throughout the movie, you know, They songs started changing a little bit, getting a little more bounce to it, and you know what I mean, as they started absorbing and really vamping off of the culture.
Pun intended.
It gave it a little spice to it.
Yeah, literally vamping, and you know, all the metaphors, including the music industry. Right?
Yeah, watch the contracts you sign, watch the hands you shake, watch the little tiny subtle invites, and oh yeah, that's cool with me. Yeah, I'll take that, because just like that.
And watch who you let feed off of you.
Who you let feed off you. Watch who you let influence you. Yeah.
Yeah. So much commentary on so many levels. And then the twins, I think they not only represented those classic Ibeji, the West African Yoruba twins, and all of the roles that they portray, but also aspects of our community, like, you know, the sort of the working class, you know, the hood, and the sort of more traditional country roots of us.
Yeah, and how close the tradition came with the underworld over there as well. You know, because they were affiliated with, I'll say they were affiliated with the mafia. So you know, they had certain skills that the other side wanted as well. So they were vamping off us from a whole bunch of different places, not just one or two. Like everywhere they were getting how they needed off of us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this might be a little spoiler, so cover your ears. One of my favorite lines in the movie was he said, "Chicago ain't nothing but Mississippi with tall buildings." I fell out because I always say that LA is country. I don't care how y'all, Oakland too, y'all want to say these are big cities. We country. Everywhere you go, people's parents, their grandparents, or even them are from Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Carolina, North and South. And we want to act like it's the big city, but we're really, that's our roots. And I felt like with Smoke and Stack, those two characters also represented the urban and the country, which are really one. And I love that so much, and, you know, different class aspirations and whatnot.
Yeah, it was a full depiction of the culture, man. It was, I also like the fact how they symbolize different aspects of the same person going through the same thing. You know what I mean? So you can kind of see the whole totality of a person's emotions and thoughts and aspirations and what drives them, what ticks them, their attractiveness. So yeah,
I like the way in one scene, I think it was Smoke who was putting her up on game, putting the little girl up on game about business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope. Let's go to Norma calling us from LA. Norma, hey.
Hi. It's taking me a while to figure out how to drive and put your phone on and put the radio on.
Yeah, don't swerve. Don't swerve. Okay, well, you're on the air now. You figured it out.
Yeah. I love that movie. I love the locale, the time, the filming. All of that was beautiful. Yeah, but what made me uncomfortable was what you were just talking about was, we love everybody, the vampires say, and all of that. What's all going on? Because, it took me to Martin Luther King Jr., the beloved community, all that stuff. And that's where I went. I was like, oh, my God, what are they saying?
Wow, that's where you went. Okay, but, without spoiling... There was one point, why is she in here? She's in here because she's family. So, I feel like there was, that's back to the question. What price do you pay for assimilation? What price do you pay for integration? What do you give up? And what do you have to take in?
We got to fight the power, we got to fight those assholes in Washington, and we all have to do it together, so that's one thing.
So you felt uncomfortable because you felt like he was saying we shouldn't all do it together?
No. No, but I got your point about, the music industry, on the artist. So that was good. I got that.
Yeah.
But I love the movie. I'm going to see it again because I'm hard of hearing, and I missed what the Irish guy was saying all through his dialogue. I couldn't hear it.
Right. You need the you need the captions on. Yeah. Well, look, some of it was hard to catch, but I think the symbolism too. That's why I want to see it on the big screen, the IMAX, so I can, pick out all the little things that he probably put in there specifically for that format.
Me too. Thanks again.
All right, Norma, which is another reason why this movie is going to keep making money, right? It's definitely one I'd see again. And I don't watch movies again that much. Once I got the story, I'm good. But if you've got it full of symbols and music and references, that I want to see.
Yeah, I don't watch movies at all, Dominique. So I'm gonna take my mom to go see it again for Mother's Day. We're gonna make that happen.
Oh, that'll be nice. And I bet you your mom will find some stuff in there that you might have missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that generational dialogue around the movie will be very interesting.
No, that's one of the movies you sit down with the family and take different perspectives on it. What everybody gets. That's a good family bonding experience. Yeah. Definitely.
I love that for Mother's Day.
Horror movie for Mother's Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Mother's Day. Yeah, we got a lot going on. We got news, traffic, and sports. Then I'll tell you what I was going to say. Something about music and Mother's Day. KBLA Talk 1580.
1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Tensions flared outside of a Grand Rapids, Michigan courthouse as protesters clashed during jury deliberations in the trial of ex-officer Christopher Shore, charged with